The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Today in the Chokeslam Wrestling Report, we're going to have three topics. One of the topics is Will Ospreay vacating the IWGP World Title due to injuries. WWE releasing Velveteen Dream after 1 year of him being accused online by minors by him sending explicit pictures online. Also, Kenny Omega and Don Callis, those two has been inseparable. Well, now they're going to be working in AEW permanently because Don Callis is no longer the head man in charge in Impact. He'll be one of the main characters. I think he still will be a character in Impact, but we'll have that and much more. Chokeslam Wrestling Report. Welcome to another episode of Chokeslam Wrestling Report. I am your host, the Ultimate One from New York City, and I am here today to talk about three topics that pretty much dominated the news of wrestling the last couple of days. And one in particular, and that we're going to talk right away, is the fact that New Japan has no world champion. Now you're just asking yourself, how in the world is that if Will Ospreay is the IWGP World Champion? Well, according to AJPW officials, they claim that Will Ospreay got hurt on May 4th on his match with Shingo Takagi, and he has a neck injury. Now, this is not good for Will Ospreay after all these years that he has worked hard to win the IWGP World Title, being that he was always being shadowed by Okada, and Okada always defeated him every time he went for the title. This is a big setback for Mr. Ospreay. Not only that, but his faction, the Empire, that included Hanari, Jeff Cobb, and the Great Khan. This faction was getting over and NJPW. And now, because of Will Ospreay, now there's no return date. When is he coming back? That is the question. Right now, New Japan has not made any official statement regarding the IWGP World Title. Right now, it's up in the air. Now, New Japan started their shows again. As of this morning, they started their Wrestle Grand Slam. I think it's the Road to Grand Slam, because I know the 29th they were supposed to have a show for the 29th, but they canceled it because there was a state of emergency in Tokyo, Japan. So, and then to top it off, the plan was to have Wrestle Grand Slam on May 19th, and on May 29th, supposedly Okada was to be the guy next up for the New Japan IWGP World Title. But now with this injury, what is going to happen? Now, I could play fantasy booking here. I was dumb. I will put a tournament of four guys. I will get Kota Ibushi, Jay White, Okada, and then you can throw in Naito in there again. It'll be just like the way it was a couple of years ago in Wrestle Kingdom. Have those guys go at it, because right now, if you really think about it, Jay White is the hot heel right now. He has the never open weight title. He is the secondary guy for that title. Now, if Jay White ends up winning the whole, this is my fantasy book. If he wins the whole tournament, then he gives up the never open weight belt. But he just beat Tanahashi for that belt on that same Wrestling Dunkerton, which was the show that the night before El Ospreay wrestled Shingo Takagi. This is a real bad setback, because now New Japan's got to figure out what they're going to do. I mean, they're going to end up finding out whatever. But, this is not good. This is not good at all. Now they walk around with no world champion. They're going to come up with a tournament. But if you do a tournament, how long the tournament is going to be? It's going to be a 2-night tournament. It's going to be, I think they should put Jay White, Okada, Naito, and Ibushi. Those are your four main stars in there. You know what I'm saying? To go after this belt and get a champion until Ospreay comes back. Now, again, Ospreay not only that, but that also may have to relinquish the Red Pro belt. And in my view, as far as a world champion, he was number two behind Walter as one of the dominant world champion. And then as of now, it would have been Roman Reigns. But with him being hurt, now we don't have a New Japan champion right now. And then whoever comes in there may not be in the top five, whatever they came in. Would you give it back to Kota Ibushi and let him carry the company? Which I think they took the belt away from him too early. But then again, you're trying to push a faction in Japan. You got Jeff Cobb, Great Khan, Hanari. So you got these guys you were pushing them. What now? What are you gonna do with these three guys? With our leader, who's gonna be the guy who's gonna take over? So right now, it doesn't look good for New Japan. Well, who knows what could happen from here in the next couple of weeks? So right now, New Japan does not have uh, a world champion. Now, this injury came in his match with Shingo Takagi. I mean, these guys went ham. When I'm talking about this match, these guys went and they hit themselves with everything. This match, they imagine that Dave Meltzer gave it a 5 star. Now, I really don't care about what Dave Meltzer says and his 5 star, 7 star, 9 star, but he was giving it. I think he gave it a 6 star. I'm correct. What I read. That's how good the match was. I mean, it wasn't no Okada and Omega, but it was close to it. And I guess because the way these wrestlers wrestle in Japan, this strong style, you're gonna have injuries like this. So it's not not something good for Japan, New Japan, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. The next story I want to bring up is the WWE releasing Velveteen Dream. Now, I did a podcast back almost a year ago to this date, when there was, um, reports of young kids complaining or made a statement that Velveteen Dream was sending explicit pictures to minors. WWE acted like, like nothing happened. I mean, weeks passed, and when this story came out, and people were like, "How in the world they still have him under their roster? They're not gonna do anything about it." The weeks passed, and nothing happened, and WWE did not respond to comments. They didn't say that. Velveteen Dream was still on NXT. When the Speak Out movement happened 2 months later, or a month later, Velveteen Dream's name popped out again, and still WWE didn't do anything. Okay. Now, Velveteen ended up last June, almost a year ago, ended up crashing his car, having issues. And the last time Velveteen Dream wrestled was against Finn Balor back in November. And you have not seen Velveteen Dream in NXT at all. Now, here's my theory on this, because the way I'm looking at it right now is I believe the WWE acted like nothing, let the news, the whole heat with this Velveteen Dream situation catch fire, let it burn down, and they act like, oh, that's not mine. That's not my property. I don't know what you're talking about, you know, because they didn't want the public relations nightmare. Now, remember, guys, WWE is a public company. They have to answer to stockholders. With this coming up, they knew that the following month of July, if they would have even responded to this would not look good on them. They acted like that nothing ever happened. Okay. Now, Triple H came out in September talking about, oh, we did not see anything wrong, or we didn't find like they didn't find anything. You never contacted the victim, so you acted like nothing happened. There's nothing to look at here, guys. There's nothing to look at. Oh, there's a fire, but there's nothing to look at. And he acted like, oh, nothing wrong. Now, what's funny is that during that same time, Lars Sullivan had came back, and he was being accused of harassing a yoga instructor who was married. So at the same time, then not only that, then you have the Matt Riddle situation where he was being accused of sexually attacking somebody or harassing somebody, or molesting somebody, and WWE, the only ones that I think that got hurt in this whole situation was Matt Riddle. Riddle lost, I think, in the Royal Rumble, whatever it was, uh, something to that effect. But he paid for it, and he's still paying for it now. You know, so they ain't do anything. They ain't do anything till now, where they decided that let's now that you're getting rid of all these wrestlers, like they got rid of Alexander Wolf. The next day they get rid of Velveteen Dream. Now a lot of people say, "Oh, Velveteen Dream might end up going to AEW." No, that's not happening. Okay, Velveteen Dream's wrestling career is over, just like Marty Scurll, just like Joey Ryan, just like a bunch of other wrestlers who ended up quitting or ended up getting out of the wrestling scene because they were being accused of sexual explicit stuff or sexual molestation, sexual harassment, and they are no longer part of the wrestling business. I mean, Marty Scurll tried to come back with New Japan, and New Japan heard an earful of all the roster members. Joey Ryan tried to play himself by making a charity event, trying to make it look like he was trying to help all these women, and then he posted his picture on the poster, and that got canceled. Velveteen Dream's career is over. It's done. If any company picks him up, they should be ashamed of themselves. Okay, because you know the fact that WWE never bothered to get in contact with the victims shows you what type of company they are. You know, they don't care about nobody, but they only care about making money. Okay, and they got rid of Lars Sullivan first. Lars Sullivan messed up anyway, and now Velveteen Dream is gone. So Matt Riddle could be on the radar down the line. Whenever they stop using it and feel they have no need for him, he'll be the next one gone. So, let's move on to Impact. And as far as Impact is concerned, there's a couple of things also I want to add before I continue. But Don Callis is no longer the man in charge of Impact. Now, what does this mean for Impact? The fact that Impact right now um, is getting viewed now, a little bit more viewed, and the pay-per-views are showing it. Uh, the fact that they are in working relationship with the AEW and New Japan. They supposedly their pay-per-views are showing some growth. I don't know how much, but there's some growth. Don Callis now supposedly is going to be working. I don't know about permanently, most likely permanently as the invisible hand with Kenny Omega and AEW. He's still going to be part of the characters of Impact, but he is not the man in charge anymore. Scott D'Amore supposedly is the guy who's going to be running it, along with probably with Tommy Dreamer. Um, what does this mean for Impact? Well, Impact they have no world. They have a world champion, but he's in Kenny Omega, but he's in AEW. Moose is not the number one contender. Now there was word around as of yesterday that Moose signed with Impact. He signed with Impact. As of this morning, as I do in this podcast, turns out Moose said is a lie. He has not re-signed. He has not re-up with Impact. He is the number one contender to the Impact World Title. His contract is up next month. He's up to wrestle Kenny Omega for the Impact title against all odds. So now the question is, what's going to happen now with, let's say if Moose doesn't win, does Moose end up leaving Impact, maybe his AEW and tries Omega again, or he stays with Impact, but now you're going to have a couple of more months where Impact doesn't have a world title. If you really think about it, Kenny Omega comes out on AEW, he doesn't come out with the Impact World Title. That shows you that why he don't care about the Impact title. Doesn't I don't know. So that's just my thought, and that's the way I look at it. Impact, by them working with AEW, I still see no talent exchange when it comes to AEW. The Good Brothers most of the time are in AEW. Okay, Omega goes to AEW, one of their best goes to Impact, comes out, do whatever he has to do, and that's it. Those are the only guys that come out from AEW. Now, Impact is taking what we'll call a opportunity of working with New Japan. Now, there's word the Impact is trying to bring in a Japanese legend Kojima into Impact coming up, I think, in the next couple of weeks, whatever it is. But Scott D'Amore may be the man in charge. And along with Tommy Dreamer, because Tommy Dreamer is in the back working with them, and whoever's there working with them. I think uh, Impact is trying to make little moves here and there. I mean, there's word that Samoa Joe may show up at Slammiversary, Chelsea Green. Um, they have, they have all these videos of people who may be there for Slammiversary in July. But I mean, everybody's talking about the Forbidden Door or whatever, and they keep talking about, oh, it's been done. But listen, not this type of situation. If probably other like Ring of Honor, Combat Zone Wrestling, other indie shows worked when they were back in 2012, early days. This is big, but I know it's running slow. And again, like I told everybody in my audio podcast, I don't care what WWE is doing right now. That does not interest me. I'm not invested in anything WWE is doing. Maybe the Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso with Roman Reigns. Other than that, I don't care about anything. Because just yesterday against Cesaro came out, he got attacked by Seth Rollins. Again, I'm not invested in anything that WWE is doing right now. I'm looking at this Forbidden Door. A lot of people are like, oh, F the Forbidden Door, F AEW, F Impact. Who cares about Impact? This is all I've been hearing, right? But yet, they want to talk about WWE and how crappy these shows are. So you're kind of contradicting yourself. You really think about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here to tell you what's going on when it comes to the Impact situation. Now, again, Scott D'Amore is now the guy that's probably going to be in charge. Let's see how this works as far as his Forbidden Door situation, how this is going to end up. It's pretty much uh, Impact. I mean, if you saw the match this week on Thursday, Finn Juice versus Madman Fulton and Ace Austin, that match was good. It was a good match. It was a good tag team match. And it's a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to be patient. We're going to see where this ends at the end of this year. Where is that? Where wrestling is at? And I'll probably do a podcast and talk about it. But right now, Don Callis is no longer the man in charge of Impact. He's going to still be a character in Impact. But he's going to mainly be working with AEW. Did he do something good for Impact? I believe so, because he was able to have Impact and AEW end up working together for the better good of the professional wrestling business. So, I don't know if I can say that, but right now we're gonna see what happens. But just stay tuned. You never know. Things could get better down the line, and you just gotta deal with it. You know what I'm saying? If you're a real pro wrestling fan, you're not crying for every little bullshit that's happening. Like every time I don't even go to the Facebook groups anymore. I don't even like answering or making my opinion on any of these Facebook posts because people are just slow in the wheel or they make stupid comments. And, like one comment I made, oh, I don't want AEW to be like Impact where they give titles to former WWE wrestlers. They work for the company. Why not give them a title? So you're not liking the fact that Miro is the TNT champion. But then again, there's possibilities of matches there. Miro versus Lance Archer is going to happen on Double Line. Miro versus Luchasaurus. Miro versus Brian Cage. There's a lot of stuff. You're not going to see that if he was stuck in WWE. It's a fact. It's a fact. You can't tell me that, you know, but people complain. Everybody's always complaining. Just enjoy the product, and you got it. You're not forbidden to give you your input or your opinion, but if you complain about that because Miro's the TNT champion, really? Come on, be realistic. Okay. Once again, guys, thank you for seeing my YouTube channel. I know last week that I didn't do a video because there's a lot of stuff going on in my personal life right now. So I figured let me and there was a lot of news last week, so there was no wrestling roundup because there was nothing to talk about. So this week, that's the stuff that they talked about. The Will Ospreay situation, which is kind of bad. The Velveteen Dream. I've been dying for him to get rid of him because of what he did. I got kids myself. I got a teenager, and I don't want no damn wrestler want to be hitting 17, 16-year-old Instagrams to send explicit pictures. He should have been gone a long time ago. WWE was trying to avoid a public relations nightmare. So, but once again, guys, thank you for um, checking out this video. Again, you guys can find me in Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You also can get the Chokeslam Wrestling Report with apparel. You got the hat, which is not this one, of course, but you get the shirt. Oh, the Chokeslam Wrestling Report shirt for $20. You go to TCWR, veryimpressive.com. That's TCWR, veryimpressive.com. And you can register in there, and you'll be able to see the YouTube video like this, and you can scroll down, and if you click the Chokeslam Wrestling Report label or the logo, it takes you directly to the audio podcast, which is way different than the videos, with different topics. And go scroll down, you see all the shirts, hats, and other apparels in there. You guys can check it out. So again, that's TCWR, veryimpressive.com. And if you guys want to check out my audio podcast, I'm available on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and any other audio major podcast platforms that you guys like to listen to any show. So to them, guys, I want to thank you once again. For supporting the podcast. If one, subscribe to this channel, hit the thumbs up, hit that notification bell for new uploads. And again, I want to thank everybody who has supported the podcast. Until then, guys, wear that mask. We're almost there. Being vaccinated or not, your choice. We're almost there. Till then, be safe, wear that mask, 6 feet apart, and I'll see you guys next week.